Hello and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. Each weekend, we walk you through the headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest. Let's get started with one of the biggest news stories of the past few days.
Overnight, infrared aircraft was able to get a better read on the size of the Crescent Road fire burning between Lincoln and Spokane counties. It's now estimated at just under 780 acres. Original acreage estimates of 500 acres came from crews on the ground, says Angel Tomeko.
So the fire itself did not have significant growth overnight.
The fire did cross from Lincoln County over Spokane County lines around 7:30 Wednesday night. Spokane County Emergency Manager Chandra Fox tells KREM 2. Tonight, level 2 and 3 evacuations issued Wednesday haven't changed, and the firefight also shut down some recreation areas along Lake Spokane and Long Lake.
There are several boat launches in the area that will be closed at least through tomorrow to allow for aircraft and potential tenders to draft water.
DNR aircraft and crews digging lines were able to stop forward progress. State mobilization has also provided extra strike teams on the ground.
And there are assessments being done at this time for any potential damages or losses, but we don't have those numbers right now.
North of the fire near Long Lake, the possibility of blowing embers also put residents of Stevens County on alert. Tomeko says winds calmed Wednesday night. Thursday's weather may play a big hand in stopping the fire spread.
Well, the weather is cooler today, winds will not be as high, and we're expecting to make good progress on containing the fire.
Crews hope those conditions and this weekend's expected rain will help them get a handle on this one quickly. Shannon Moudy, KREM 2 News.
People living in the evacuated areas are being sent to Sagal Elementary School as the Sunset Fire continues to burn.
It's car after car coming into the evacuation shelter at Sagal Elementary School.
Went and grabbed what I thought was necessary and drove here. My husband and I have been sitting here very quietly and calmly.
As smoke filled the sky from the Sunset Fire, Chris Legursky says having to leave her 28-year home in Carywood was difficult.
Never been evacuated before. Thought I was prepared, but you never really are.
Bob Howard with Bonner County Emergency Management says as crews fight the fire, he and the county's community emergency response team will be taking care of those needing a place to stay.
We're going to provide them some refreshments, try to make them comfortable until such time we have a different plan moving forward for a shelter, or if they get released to go back.
Howard says an overnight emergency shelter will be made available for those evacuated. All the while, Legursky says she's worried more about her neighbors than she is her home.
We have neighbors that are actually still there. They didn't evacuate.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you worried about them?
I'm very worried about them, yes. But it's their choice. Some people just aren't moving.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Sarah Shaw and her 6-year-old son have spent 3 weeks in ICE custody now after they were arrested at the U.S.-Canada border. She was in Vancouver putting 2 out of her 3 kids on a flight to New Zealand to visit their grandparents. A visa error landed her not in an ICE facility here in Tacoma, but in Texas.
I am a very involved friend.
When Victoria Besançon didn't hear anything from her best friend after her trip across the border to the Vancouver airport, Besançon knew something was immediately wrong.
We didn't know exactly where she was. Her lawyer figured she was in one of the 2 family facilities, so I started Googling and calling the facilities until I got some kind of answer.
Shaw and her 6-year-old son Isaac were detained at the ICE detention facility in Dilley, Texas, one of the few family detention centers in the country.
Had Sarah been able to be detained over here in Tacoma, her lawyer would have had a much easier time representing her. Things would have moved a lot more quickly.
Shaw's lawyer says a simple clerical error is to blame for Shaw's visa issue. But her son Isaac's documents were in order, but they were detained together anyway.
Isaac has spent his entire summer locked in a detention facility despite having all of his paperwork done properly, and it's been devastating. I would say, given the situation, he's doing as best as you could hope. Sarah honestly used all of her commissary to get him ice cream, coloring pencils, anything to make him feel like he was at home. They had one PlayStation within the community of about 60 children, so they all took turns ferociously trying to play with that.
Besançon says Shaw has no criminal history and believes border officials could have helped Shaw correct the visa issue.
This was a minor error. You know, this was just a paperwork error. It wasn't as if Sarah was completely violating or abandoning her visa, and they had the opportunity to fix it at the border if they had chosen. They just made the decision not to.
When Sarah and Isaac are released tomorrow from Texas, apparently it's on them to purchase their flights back home. Her friend Victoria says she's also going to be the one picking up Sarah's 2 other kids from Vancouver when they return from New Zealand. In the newsroom, Sharon Yu, King 5 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Each weekend, we walk you through headlines for the past week in the Inland Northwest.
Well, as the day-to-day responsibilities for the Spokane County Sheriff's Office don't stop, now Behind the Badge Foundation is helping to step in to honor Sergeant Kenneth Solis.
The Spokane County Sheriff's Office says it takes a village to honor someone who served in the line of duty.
We have a moral and a legal duty to follow a family's wishes.
The Behind the Badge Foundation has served Washington State for 30 plus years. Their slogan, serving those who serve. Now, 18 people under the foundation are helping to put together the memorial to honor Sergeant Kenneth Solis. Finding a safe venue, safe transportation, and coordinating with local and state law enforcement are just some of the tasks at hand.
Our job is to come in here and work with the Sheriff's Office at their invitation to become one with our trusted volunteers to start a process wherein we provide wraparound services for our family members and envelop them with a lot of assistance and really a lot of love and provide them their immediate needs.
For now, there are still no concrete details on when a memorial service will happen to honor the sergeant. When KREM 2 learns more, we will inform the community. I'm reporting in Spokane County, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
The amount of brush fires here on the Centennial Trail in Spokane Valley, like this one right here, has increased so much. The Spokane County Sheriff's Office and the Spokane Police Department are assisting in the investigation, one after the other.
We've been having a lot of fires on the Centennial Trail, all the way from the valley into the city of Spokane and beyond.
Abraham Nisbet, a fire investigator with the Spokane Valley Fire Department, says there's a pattern with the recent string of suspicious fires, similar enough that he and other fire investigators believe they're linked.
The timing, the distance, the location, they're all very similar, and that's why we link them together.
He says the latest fires were set just after midnight, 5 small brush fires along the Centennial Trail near Evergreen Road in Carlisle. Witnesses later told firefighters of another fire at Mirabou Park just down the road. That's where firefighters say they discovered the fire had 8 separate fire starts. The largest one reached half an acre. This follows more fires early Tuesday morning when crews were called to what turned out to be 4 small brush fires, 3 at the Mirabou Trailhead and 1 north and south of Trent Avenue. Last week, investigators arrested 44-year-old Sarah Beal for starting 2 fires along the Centennial Trail in both Spokane and Spokane Valley. That's a dozen brush fires along the trail over the past 2 weeks. But the fires didn't stop. Nisbet says the Sheriff's Office, Spokane Valley Fire, and the Police Department are meeting to go over the findings each agency has so far.
wildland fires are taking the predominance due to their frequency that we're having right now.
It's a pressing issue they fear will lead to homes lost or even worse if the person or people behind the fires aren't stopped, and soon.
Countywide resources are working together to put an end to this before we have a loss of life or major loss of property.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Some Spirit Lake families first noticed the issue when they tried to register their kids for the bus, like Sandy Johnson.
And the registration, I thought there maybe was a glitch in the system because it didn't have his original bus stop listed.
She says she called the district. A week later, they called back to tell her Spirit Lake is now without buses.
Yeah, 2 weeks before school starts. Yeah, so that really gives people, you know, a couple weeks to make big life choices for their family.
Lakeland School District put out this letter announcing it eliminated 8 bus routes. Some stops will consolidate, others are gone entirely. All students living in Spirit Lake will have to walk because they're within 1.5 miles of each school. That includes Johnson's 10-year-old.
All the way down, and he would have to walk down the highway about 1 mile, and then the school would be on the left-hand side, so he would have to cross the highway to get to the school.
I am right next to Spirit Lake Elementary, where Johnson's son will be walking every day and using the school crosswalk. Even when I turned on those warning lights, waited and looked both ways, drivers either didn't notice the lights. I had one driver who, as I was crossing, didn't stop until they were inches from that crosswalk.
We moved our son back to our local school so that he could ride the bus.
New Superintendent Rusty Taylor sent a statement saying the district needed to cut $500,000 of the transportation budget. That's even though voters approved a May levy of more than $7 million. Taylor says that was $2 million shy of what the district originally asked for in the failed November levy. Johnson, a college student herself, says this leaves her no options at all.
Right now, we are in talks of possibility of me taking a brief leave of absence, which would put me a year behind on school.
A choice she'll make to get her son safely back to school.
Think of, you know, the little kids walking with no sidewalks in some areas in, you know, negative 17-degree weather or 3 foot of snow. You know, it affects us more than it affects the other schools.
Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week. Right behind me is just a small portion of the cows here at J&K Dairy just outside of Sunnyside. We're visiting on one of the hottest days of the summer so far. And even with temperatures like this, they're making sure their cows are staying as cool as possible, even when water is so precious.
The noise is constant at J&K Dairy, from fans to water soakers. Trying to beat the summer heat isn't easy. With 3,000 dairy cows and 2,000 acres for growing crops like corn and wine grapes, that job gets harder for farmer Jason Sheehan when water's scarce.
Right now, the biggest issue we're dealing with is the irrigation water.
Sheehan's part of the Rosa Irrigation District in the Yakima Valley, where he serves as a board director. They're right in the middle of their 3rd drought in a row.
In a drought like this year, we're actually getting 42% of our water. So less than half of what we're supposed to get.
The Rosa Irrigation District relies heavily on the snowpack in the mountains, but this year, those crucial winter accumulations just aren't there. What started off as a promising year quickly melted faster than expected. The dry spring led to Washington state officials declaring a drought emergency in several counties. The snowpack isn't the only thing melting faster than expected, something University of Idaho glaciologist Tim Bartholomew knows all too well.
The glaciers in the Northwest is sort of similar to the condition of glaciers across the Earth, and that's generally that the glaciers are melting more than they're gaining.
He says glaciers across the Northwest are losing an average of 2 feet of ice every year. He points to climate change and the warmer temperatures that come with it for the faster melt.
The temperatures are warmer in the summer than they used to be, and that melts the glaciers a little bit faster. In the exact same way, the snowpack also melts a little bit faster come the spring.
It's also why we're seeing less mountain snow in the first place.
So in the last 70 years or so, we've seen, in a lot of places, we still have snow. We still get snowstorms, but the snow that makes it to spring is now less than it used to be.
When you have one drought or maybe 2 droughts, you can kind of get through things, but the third year you start to really stress crops.
With less water, Sheehan's not growing anything on about a third of his land.
Which is a cost because then we've got to buy feed for the cows.
The farm does have its own water cycle to get as much as they can out of each drop. One cycle starts with using water to cool the milk. It's then used to water the cows, cool them off with the soakers, and to flush the barn alleys of waste.
That water is never used just once, it's always captured. And once all that water is captured in our lagoons, we use it to fertilize our fields.
But the future remains uncertain, with concerns about next year already sprouting.
Because the reservoirs now are at some of the lowest levels and they've got to refill. And if you don't get the reservoirs to start refilling, we're going to be in another drought next year.
For Environment Northwest, I'm Cody Proctor.
Before we wrap up this edition of the KREM 2 News Week in Review, we have one more story you might have missed this past week.
Here's a snack.
Oh, thank you.
I also have potato salad.
Yes. Is this non-gassy?
Val Money
Yeah, let's talk about that.
is leaning on a friend
I have to have non-gassy food
for once.
for my test tomorrow. Thanks for taking care of me all day starting at 6 o'clock in the morning with that disaster.
Something he has always done for others.
I have a disabled partner who can only do so much.
Eastern Washington is home now, but Val spent more than 25 years in Seattle. Now he's back at Kristen's house
Yeah, it's a lot.
to begin a tough chapter.
I have what's called a 4+3 Gleason 7 prostate cancer.
If that wasn't bad enough, this was how he woke up on the day he began cancer treatment.
A woman called me at 6 a.m., I think almost on the nose, and said, "We have a car registered in your name." I think she said it was in a wreck.
Val's car was supposed to be parked on this hill, but miles away at Dimmitt Middle School, smashed into this fence, is where police found it.
I'm just trying to get through cancer, and now I have to deal with that.
Crashed,
It's like they took a grenade to the ignition.
stolen,
Why is this happening to me?
and stranded in the school's parking lot. Val needed his car for more than just a ride home.
I'm the sole breadwinner, so if I'm not making money, there's no money coming in.
Kristen's stepping in to help him get back to work.
I'm glad that I was there to, had a running car and we were able to accomplish all that we needed to get done today.
Even though Val still has tests, scans, and radiation on the schedule, he's refusing to let the setbacks steal his gratitude.
Really, I'm very fortunate because I have a big community of people that love me, and I don't know how people that don't do it when stuff like that comes up.
Keep it here for more news and weather updates throughout the weekend. And don't forget, you can watch our latest newscasts anytime on your schedule on KREM 2 Plus. Download and watch right now for free. I'm Cody Proctor. Thank you for watching the KREM 2 News Week in Review.